is the PCSRA Radio Network and the Blue Hedgehog TV. We now interrupt your regular scheduled programming for the following sports special. On the PCSRA Sports Network, from Learfield IMG College, this is the Overwatch League podcast presented by Oreos. Here's the voice of the PCSRA, Daniel Voiles.
And hello and good morning. Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to a triple header that you all kind of expected on the week before my birthday. It is the Overwatch League podcast, the IMSA podcast, as well as Triple P. I'm Daniel Voiles. We're excited to have you with us for what will be another exciting edition of the Overwatch League podcast. Do apologize for the fact that this was supposed to happen last week. I couldn't get the show last week because the recording was corrupted, so I decided last second to go ahead and stream. And I didn't tell you who was playing this past weekend on the July holiday that I'm not supposed to say. Otherwise, I'm going to get myself on the board, as I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way because I am got some lunch in front of me, so that way I have everything all nicely neat and ready to go. I'm going to do that, get adjusted as long as that is taken care of. You have to excuse me for a bit because I am currently having some barbecue, and if any of our panelists for Triple P comes across this stream, I am not sharing my food. So, there you go. Want to go ahead and give you all a few announcements before we get started. Before we get ready for Triple P later down the road. Looking forward to next week. Next week is going to be really a busy week because we got the Home Run Derby that I'm going to stream later on Twitch after we are done with all these shows and all that. Then we're going to have, of course, we have the Invitational next week. We have the Home Run Derby also from Coors Field in Colorado. Then we have the main event for the Invitational, as well as the main event for the Birthday Bash, which also on that Tuesday will have the 2021 MLB All-Star Game. So, hopefully you guys are definitely looking forward to that. Sorry if my mouth is salivating, because I'm currently going to have some delicious food in front of me. I'm just putting it on a sandwich, so, yeah, so, hopefully you guys are looking forward to that, and it's going to be very exciting. First, let's get to the scores from the final weekend of June, and then the first weekend of July. This is the Summer Showdown that we're currently on. Final scores from the 25th through the 27th. The weekend I lost my temper because of the fact of work. But anyway, it was a 3-1 win for Paris over London. Gladiators beat San Francisco 3-2. Hanzu Spark shut out the LA Valiant 3-0. Seoul beat Chengdu Hunters 3-1. Gansu Charge 3, New York E2. Shock beat the Spitfire 3-2. Toronto won it over Florida 3-2. Boston 3, Vancouver 1 on the 26th. And then the 27th, Seoul beat Hanzu Spark 3-0. Chengdu Hunters 3, Gansu Charge 0. Same with New York E, who shut out the LA Valiant 3-0. Paris 3, Gladiators 2. Boston shut out Florida 3-0. And Toronto shut out Vancouver 3-0. Final scores from this past weekend. It was a 3-1 victory for the San Francisco Shock over the Paris Eternal. Atlanta 3, Washington 0. Philadelphia 3, Gansu Charge 0. Shanghai Dragons 3, Seoul 0. Paris 3, Vancouver 0. Dallas won it 3-2 over the Florida Mayhem. Houston Outlaws beat the San Francisco Shock 3-1. Seoul beat Guangzhou Charge 3-2. Shanghai 3, Philadelphia 0. Dallas 3, Atlanta 2. Houston 3, Vancouver 0. Washington 3, Florida Mayhem 0. So there you go. And now I'll just go ahead and tell you the games we got coming up this weekend. So I don't have to look at the... I'll look at the standings in a minute. But we got some games coming up. Actually, let's look at the standings. As they just gave me the... I'll just open a new tab. After this, stay here on the stream because we're going to have the IMSA podcast coming up in that retrospect. So the standings so far in the regular season. Dallas leads the West by 3 points over a tie for second between Houston and San Francisco. The Los Angeles Gladiators are fourth. Washington is fifth. Toronto, they're tied with Toronto, Paris, Atlanta, and Atlanta. Boston and Florida have 5. London and Vancouver have yet to score points. Shanghai Dragons have 13 points. They lead over Seoul by 4 points, 9 points. Then it's Philadelphia 3rd, Hangzhou Spark 4th, Chengdu Hunters 5th, New York E 6th, Guangzhou Charge 7th, LA Valiant have yet to score. And now the games coming up this weekend, week number 13, which after this, we only have 6 more weeks to go until the playoffs, which is crazy if you ask me. Atlanta's going to take on London. That'll be July the 8th at 2 o'clock, which is this Friday. Boston taking on Houston on that weekend. All of these games are on YouTube TV. Then that's on Thursday, I'm sorry. On Friday, Hangzhou Sparks will take on New York E. Chengdu Hunters take on Philadelphia. Los Angeles Valiant take on the Shanghai Dragons. Hangzhou Spark, New York E at 11:30, which there's an encore. So there you go. Washington taking on London. Gladiators taking on Toronto. Dallas takes on Houston. New York E takes on Philadelphia. Los Angeles Valiant taking on Chengdu Hunters. Hangzhou Spark take on Shanghai. New York E at Philadelphia and encore. So yeah, there you go. We have Atlanta taking on Boston. Toronto at Dallas. Washington at the Gladiators, and then whoever wins will go into the July 11th, which the championship game for the Summer Showdown will be on July 11th at 6:30. So you won't get any highlights until Monday. So there you go. So that is it for the Overwatch League podcast portion of our show. Now to the IMSA podcast. Now, let's take you over to the IMSA podcast to start the second of 3 shows for the weekend. So with that being said, enjoy the little voice deal for the IMSA podcast.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the International Motorsports Association for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction or rebroadcast, retransmission or other dissemination or the use of this broadcast, descriptions or accounts of this show without the express written consent of the International Motorsports Association is prohibited. On the PCSRA Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Welcome to the IMSA podcast presented by Toyota. Now at the call of today's show, here's the voice of the PCSRA, Daniel Voiles.
Alright, before we start the IMSA podcast, let me take a bite of my barbecue before we get started. Alright. Whew. Good thing to wash it down with water, so. Anyway. Okie dokie. So welcome, as I'm not on the right series for some reason. Hang on a second. Okay. Let's go over the results. Okay, that's the sprint race results. I need the 6 hours of the Glen results, so give me 1 second. Okay, so let's go to schedule. Let's go to... Here we go. This is what I was looking for. That is not what I want. I wanted the 6 hours of the Glen, not the, I wanted the results for the, 6 hours of the Glen. That's what I was trying to get, not the results for the July 2nd race. Hang on a second. Yeah, I wanted the results for the, give me a second. It's this one. That's what I was trying to get the first time. There we go. There we go. Okay, that is not what I want, you darping lizard. I wanted the 6 hours of the Glen results. Give me a second. When I tell this thing I want the 6 hours of the Glen results, they're like, oh no, we want to give you the results for the damn race from last Friday. I don't want that. I want the results from the damn 6 hours of the Glen, you darping grandpa. Okay, that is not the right results. Give me a second. That's what I want, you darping lizard. Jeez, oh, jeez, crow. That's a great way to start off the show. That is not the right results, you darping faun. It's like, faun is about to get smacked. Before I forget, and then Cody's like, what did your phone do? My phone's being a derping hyena. Alright, let me go ahead and share this video on Facebook. Alright. So let's go over the results. First with the 6 hours of the Glen. In Daytona Prototype, Harry Tinkle, Jonathan Bombardino, and Oliver Jarvis won for Daytona Prototype International. Dean Cameron, Oliver Paula second, Ricky Taylor, Felipe Albuquerque finishing third with Alexander Rossi. By the way, Albuquerque will not have to worry about a clash as far as the 6 hours of Fuji, because that race was canceled and was replaced with the 6 hours of Bahrain, which means World Endurance will stay in Bahrain for a couple of weeks to end off their season. Let me take another bite of my food. By the way, hi, one person in the chat. I have assumption it's probably Great Lakes. Okay, where was I? Oh, yes. Mike Conway, Pipo Durrani, Felipe Nasr, 4th. Kamoi Kobayashi, Simon Pagenaud, Jimmy Johnson, 5th. Best result for Jimmy Johnson, the Enduros this season. Ringer Vanderzander, Kevin Magnussen, 6th. Luke Duvall, Sebastian Bourdais, Tristan Vautier finished 7th. And that was all of the drivers from Daytona Prototypes. For the LMP2, there was only 3 finishers. Tristan Nunez, Thomas Morelli, Stephen Thomas, the winners. Mikhail Jensen, Scott Huffaker, Ben Keating, 2nd. Wayne Boyd, Guy Smith, James McGuire, 3rd. And the 2 that did not finish, Gabriel Aubrey, James French, Jonathan Farnero, who ended up 4th, Kyle Tilley, Ryan Dallas, and Derek Merriman did not complete the race. So there you go. For LMP3, Felipe Fraga, Scott Andrews, Gar Robertson were the winners. Colin Brown, Jonathan Bennett, George Kurtz finished second. Dylan Murray, Jerron Beckamon, Jim Cox third. Oliver Askew, Marco Andretti, Jarrett Andretti fourth. Austin McCusker, Nicholas Cruton, Eduardo Capahan finished in fifth. Theodore Olson, Jonathan Cicero, or whatever the fuck his last name is. Ben Devlin, 6. Dan Goldman, Mateo, Lamina, Rasmus Linden finished 7th, rounded out LMP3. For GT Le Mans, Jordan Taylor and Antonio Garcia 1, Augusto Farvis, John Edwards, and Jesse Krohn 2nd, Connor D, Felipe, Philip Ing, Bruno Spengler 3rd, Nick Tanny, Tommy Miller 4th, and then completing the Corvette deal was Cooper McNeil, Matthias Gemma, and Matthew Campbell, who finished, well, last. And then the top 10 results for GT Daytona, Bill Overland, Robert Foley, Adrian Redd 1, Corey Lewis, Brian Sellers, Madison Snow 2nd, Ross Gunn, Ian James, Roman DeAngelis 3rd, Marquez Palata, Don Yunt, and Jaden Conwright 4th. 5th was Daniel Mored, Michael de Quesadia, Billy Johnson 5th, Kyle Kurtwood, Aaron Telez, Jack Hawksworth 6th, Lawrence Van Hoot, Lars Curran, and Zachary Robichon 7th, Yen Hayden, Patrick Long, Trent Hidman 8th, Tyler McQuarrie, Richard Heston, and Jess Westpole 9th, and Catherine Legg, Andrew Davis, Robert Ferrari completed the top 10. That was for the 6 Hours of the Glen, which was a good race. The results for the race on July 2nd. Shorter field, we only had 30 starters, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. And I'm trying to think how many, okay. So, anyway. Pedro Durrani, Felipe Nasser 1, Ringer Van der Zender, Kevin Magnussen 2nd, Felipe Albuquerque, Ricky Taylor 3rd, Luke Duvall, Tristan Valtier 4th, Harry Tinkle, Oliver Javis 5th, Dean Cameron, Oliver Paya 6th. That was 6 Daytona prototypes. For LMP2, Mikhail Jensen, Ben Keating 1, Tristan Nunez, Stephen Thompson 2nd, Gabriel Albury, John Ferrano 3rd, and that was only 2 the LM deal. For LMP3, Felipe Fraga, Gar Robertson 1, Dylan Murray, Jim Cox 2nd, Colin Brown, Jonathan Bennett 3rd, Oliver Askew, Jarrett Andretti 4th. 5th was Rasmus Linney, Mateo Lernes 5th. Theodore Olson and Don Cicero finished 6th. Not sure why they didn't have a class deal on theirs, which is a derp on this deal. Corvette Racing 1-2 as they swept Watkins Glen. Jordan Taylor, Antonio Garcia, no surprise there. Nick Tandy, Jonathan Miller 2nd. Matthew McNeil, Matt Campbell, and Cooper McNeil 3rd. In the GT Le Mans. GT Daytona, Jack Hawksworth 1 with Aaron Chalez, Zach Veach, and Mohamed Cavado 2nd, Ross Gunn, Roman DeAngelis 3rd, Jeff Westpole, Richard Heiston 4th, Daniel Morad, Michael de Quesadia 5th, Till Becco, whatever his last name is, Mark Miller 6th, Guy Cosmo, Shane Lewis 7th, Catherine Legg, Robert Ferroli 8th, 9th, Mario Fahnbacher, Jeff Kingsley 9th, Madison Snow, Brian Sellers, complete top 10. Thoughts on the Glen race? The Friday race was, of course, to make up for the cancellation of Canadian Tires, so there you go. But it really brought some good racing, nevertheless, and we were very excited to see IMSA having those 2 races on the calendar, so there you go. No IMSA news other than the news I just got done talking about when we were going over the 6 Hours of the Glen. I'm going to rate both the 6 Hours of the Glen and the WeatherTech 240 a solid 8. By the way, if you missed any of those races, I have they're down in the description. Also, the Continental Tire race that if you missed, it's on YouTube, so you can go check it out. And take another bite of my barbecue before we get into the preview of Lime Rock. Alright. So I'll go ahead and slip into the Paddock Pass VC. After we go, oh, hang on. I'll do this. Because I gotta do something real quick. So yeah. Lime Rock should be interesting to see what's going to happen. I mean, that track's really going to be exciting. And Lime Rock is one of those races that we're glad to have them back. Of course, the race was canceled because of COVID-19, but can't wait to see how that's going to go. And I don't know what classes will be there. I think it may be a GT series. Let me double check to confirm that with you guys before we get to Triple P and start our national anthem of our deal. So let me check. Northeastern GP. Okay, here it is. Northeastern Grand Prix, that will be on Saturday, July 17th. The race will be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. Check that out. You can watch the race on IMSA TV, which is Track Pass and all that. So, yeah. Of course, IMSA TV will have the IMSA qualifying, so that'll be interesting. I don't know what classes are supposed to be there. I'll have to double check if I pull up the IMSA schedule. But Lime Rock should be very good, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. So, with that said, that's it for our portion of the IMSA podcast. But stay right here, because it's time for the greatest show on Earth, Triple P. Now, these promotional announcements.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the National Association of Professional Racing Leagues Incorporated for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction or rebroadcast, retransmission, or other dissemination or the use of this broadcast, descriptions, or accounts of this show without the express written consent of the National Association of Professional Racing Leagues Incorporated is prohibited. On the PCSRA Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Welcome to the PCSRA Paddock Pass Show. We're glad that you're here to start a new journey of the PCSRA as the chase for the 2021 championships begin. Welcome to the PCSRA Paddock Pass on the PCSRA Radio Network as we get ready to bring you all the racing for the 2021 season. Today's broadcast has been brought to you by Budweiser, Love's Travel Stops, iHeartMedia, The Oklahoman, Newcastle Casino, Devon Energy, Sonic Drive-Ins, and by the Oklahoma Highway Safety Office, where we encourage all of you fans that together we can end DUI. Now, for the greatest show on earth from today's episode of the PCSRA Paddock Pass from Yukon, Oklahoma, here's the voice of the PCSRA, Daniel Voiles.
I know I might be late for the national anthem, but let's go ahead and do our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, the PCSRA is proud to welcome the greatest deal ever in the awesome deal. From the pride of the PCSRA and the awesome ROTC units in the playing of our national anthem, the United of USA. Without the damn eel in this. Oh, how proud I am to be an American. If you know what I mean. Alright. So, let's get into the VC. Okay, so while we're waiting for the panelists, I'm going to take another bite of my awesome food. And then Taylor's going to get triggered and say, okay, what are you having? Okay, Fly, you better get on my food. Alright. Okie dokie. Needed to be refreshed, if you know what I mean. So, alright, now the moment you've all been waiting for. So, okay, while we are waiting for the panelists to join us, on our show today, we're going to recap a lot of things. We have Formula 3 to recap. We got the Austrian GP for F1, as well as the W Series. We also got, as I'm going to go ahead and put JC. We also got Mid-Ohio to recap. So, yeah. Got some stuff to recap, and we'll be ready to go. So, there you go. Alright. Let me get the IndyCar recap. Results. There we go. So Zachary Taylor's alright. So, with that being said, let's go over. Oh, I need to get motorsports for the Formula 3 results, as well as the as well as W Series, if you know what I mean. Give me 1 second. No, that's not what I want. This is what I want. Ooh, injury. Okay, so. Alright, let's get the full results so that way I don't have to mess with it. Whoops. W Series. Then I'll just go on here for the results for the W Series. So there you go. So, alright. So let's kick off our Triple P while we're waiting for panelists to join us, as we'll recap the race weekend. Starting with Formula 3, the top 10 results from race 1 are as follows. As I just hit my antenna, I do apologize. Dennis Hogger won, Ollie Caldwell second, Jack Doohan third, Enzo Fittipaldi fourth, Victor Martins fifth, Johnny Edgar sixth, Frederick Vesti seventh, Jack Crawford eighth, Kalen Frederick ninth, and Juan Manuel Carrera finished 10th. Kalen Frederick had to withdraw from race 3 because of a hand injury. Hopefully his hand will be better when we get to Hungary in a couple of weeks. David Schumacher won race number 2. Frederick Vesti second, Dennis Hogger third, Roman Stanek fourth, Johnny Edgar fifth, Arthur Leclerc sixth, Jack Doohan seventh, Enzo Fittipaldi eighth, Ollie Caldwell ninth, and Jonathan Hogger completed the top 10. And then for race number 3, Frederick Vesti won, Dennis Hogger second, Ollie Caldwell third, Alexander Similar fourth, Matteo Nannini fifth, Amu Oshawa sixth, Ko Collette seventh, Logan Sargent eighth, Callan Williams ninth, and Johnny Edgar completed the top 10. The top 10 results for the W Series from the Red Bull Ring. Jamie Chadwick won, pole win and fastest lap of the race. Second was Irina Sidorkova of Russia, finished second. Emma Kimalainen third, Sarah Moore fourth. Fifth was Bruna Tomaselli. Sixth was Abby Eaton. Seventh, Narina Martini. Eighth was Alice Powell. Ninth, Belen Garcia. And completing the top 10 was Fabian Woolwine in that regard. Then we go to the F1 race for the Austrian Grand Prix. It was a lot different than what happened. Only incident of the race, first lap, Esteban Ocon got caught in a 3-wide situation, which damaged the right front suspension on his car. He unfortunately had to retire out of the race. In that regard. Other than that, everybody else kind of had those issues. Last lap, Kimi Räikkönen turned Sebastian Vettel, which Vettel unfortunately did not complete the final lap. Kimi Räikkönen was slapped with a penalty, and when it was all said and done, Max Verstappen once again wins the race, and Lewis Hamilton once again got disqualified for saying the R word. So the top 10 results for the F1 race: Max Verstappen the winner, Valtteri Bottas second, Lando Norris gets another podium in third. This time he earned it the hard way. Lewis Hamilton fourth, Carlos Sainz Jr. fifth, Sergio Perez sixth, Daniel Ricciardo seventh, Charles Leclerc eighth, Pierre Gasly ninth, and Fernando Alonso complete the top 10. Then we go to the IndyCar race at Mid-Ohio. Contact with Will Power and Ed Jones. They had some issues, brought out the first full course caution. Everybody else was running calm and clean as far as that's concerned, and when it was all said and done, Joseph Newgarden gets his first win of the season at Mid-Ohio. The top 10 results for the IndyCar Series: Joseph Newgarden the winner, Marcus Ericsson second, Alex Palou third, Scott Dixon fourth, Alexander Rossi fifth, Graham Rahal sixth, Roman Grosjean seventh, Pato Award 8th, Santino Ferrucci 9th, and Takumo Sato completed the top 10. Then we go to the Xfinity Series race for the Road America weekend. The race was kind of controversy in a shall we say in a bad way, if you know what I mean? And I'll explain why I say that. The 6 of Spencer Pumpelly was stopped in the final corner, brought out the first full course yellow. A.J. Allmendinger went on to win stage number 1 in that regard. Then then Sam Mayer got spun going down towards Canada corner. He collects the 90 of Preston Pardis. Sam Mayer's day was done. That was just after the restart. Nothing else happened in Stage 2. Guess who? AJ Allmendinger won Stage number 2. Jade Buford went out of the race with a suspension issue. Then Spencer Pompelli's troubles continues as he backed his car into the Turn 1 gravel trap, reminiscent of what happened to Gunter Steinbach, who ran the back of Joe Foster in the Mazda several years ago in the Grand Am race, or what is now IMSA. Spencer Pompelli's day was done. Then Ty Gibbs broke his gearbox coming out of Station 5. It came to a stop in turn number 6, which was a very shame to say the least, if you know what I mean. Then we had what we call the dreaded big one. Contact with the two of Myatt Snyder got turned, and he got the 7 of Justin Allgaier, the 17 of Cody Ware, the 19 of Brandon Jones, the 20 of Harrison Burton, Austin Cindric in the 22, Natalie I ran out of talent Decker, the 26 of Chris Wright, the 39 of Ryan Sieg, and the 54 of Kyle Busch. Some of those drivers did continue on, but Decker was done. Brett Moffitt got involved in a wreck with Ryan Ellis and Josh Bilicki that did not bring out a yellow. They unfortunately went out of the race. As a result, they should have thrown the yellow, which they didn't, and unfortunately Kyle Busch got his 101st Dalmatian win in Xfinity Series. So the top 10 results for the Xfinity Series race: Kyle the Dalmatian Busch won, Daniel Hemrick second, Michael Annett third, AJ Allmendinger fourth, Harrison Burton fifth, Kevin Harvick sixth, Riley Herbst seventh, Austin Cindric eighth, Noah Gragson ninth, and Justin Haley complete the top 10. Then we go to the Cup Series race for the first race in 65 years. It was not the inaugural race for anyone trying to derp. It was the inaugural Jockey Made America 250% of a Kiwi trip. Daniel Suarez broke his gearbox on track coming out of Station 5. He came to a stop. That brought out the yellow. Under that yellow, Ryan Preece took his car behind the wall with an engine failure, so it's a break for him. Then the 70 of Kyle Tilley went off course through the carousel, got stuck in the gravel trap, brought out the second full course yellow, which ended stage number 1. That was won by William Byron in that regard. Nothing happened in stage number 2. That was won by Tyler Reddick. And then Anthony Alfredo stopped on track. I don't know what part of the track he stopped on track. He lost his brakes, brought out a yellow. Alfredo was done for the day. And when it was all said and done, Chase Elliott took the checker flag. His first win at Road America in the inaugural race, and another road course win, his 7th on the season. So the top 10 results for the Cup Series race: Chase Elliott, the winner. Christopher Bell finished second after he hasn't been doing good. Kyle Busch in a backup car finished third. Kurt Busch fourth. Denny Hamlin fifth. Chase Briscoe sixth. Ross Chastain seventh. Tyler Reddick eighth. Martin Truex Jr. ninth. And Matt DiBenedetto completes the top 10. Thoughts on the week, as I almost knocked over my water. Okay. And I need to get this fly away from my sandwiches. Otherwise the fly is going to eat my sandwiches, and then I'm going to smack it. So, Road America was okay. I mean, it was good racing, but, you know, NASCAR needs to tell the Xfinity Series officials to be consistent with the yellow flag, which they are not. Austria was good, and same with Mid-Ohio, if you know what I mean. So let me rate the Mid-Ohio race. I'll give it an 8. Austria, I'm going to give it an 8 for the entire weekend, because why not? It's a big surprise George Russell made it to Q3 on the medium tire, which was the big surprise. And then for Road America, I'm going to give the Xfinity race a 6 and the Cup race a 7. There you go. So let's get right into the top story news we got. Of course, this past week was announced that Daniel Suarez will be staying in the Trackhouse team. They bought out Chip Ganassi Racing, which means Chip Ganassi Racing will be leaving NASCAR at the end of the season, which is no surprise. They still do not know who will be in that ride, that second ride, since Suarez was already confirmed he will be back with the team next year. Alon Day won at Brands Hatch, so good for him in that regard. F1 news just came out yesterday. If you did not hear the announcement yesterday, the Australian Grand Prix at Albert Park that was originally supposed to be in March, that was postponed to November due to the COVID-19 pandemic, has officially been canceled for the second year in a row. However, unlike last year, it was canceled months in advance because of the, well, Victorian had a strict rule that anyone enters into the country would have to isolate for 2 weeks, which it would not make sense for F1. For F1 to go into the country, because they have to get everything all set up, have to isolate for 2 weeks, which would not be fair, and they would be behind schedule as far as that's concerned. So, which means the Australian Grand Prix has officially been canceled. I will update the points before we get into predictions. And a lot of people were furious about that. You know, Daniel Ricciardo took to Twitter. Let me find his Daniel Ricciardo took it to Twitter about the Austrian GP, and I'm trying to find the so yeah. So yeah, very disappointed. I'm trying to find the interview where Daniel Ricciardo, let me find, so yeah, let me find. I was trying to find the interview where Daniel Ricciardo did it. For some reason, I can't find. Oh, here it is. Here's Daniel Ricciardo. This is what he had to say after hearing the news the Australian GP was canceled. Give me a second. Let's try this. Alright, this is what Daniel Ricciardo had to say. If the video, oh, here we go. Oh, dagnabbit. Wait, I see what's wrong. I'm on Discord. Give me a second. Let me leave this, VC. Alright, Let's try it again. This is what Ricardo had to say.
Hey everyone, fellow Papaya fans back home. Yeah, sure most of you have seen the news now that unfortunately can't come home for the race this year. It hurts. I know we're all looking forward to it, and particularly myself to race in Melbourne again. But look, we got to keep our chin up, look forward. Hopefully in 2022 it can happen, and I'm sure by then it will be bigger, better, and more beautiful than ever. But yeah, for now, just stay healthy, stay safe, do what we got to do to make it happen in 2022. So look forward to seeing you all there soon.
And that was... Shut up, phone. That was Daniel Ricciardo, who just told Aussie friends to continue to chin up, which is important. That's probably why you can hear it, because we were on Discord. So, yes. That means it does several things. That means we'll have to find a race to replace the Australian Grand Prix, and now only one race that we do not yet know of the future, and that is the Chinese Grand Prix in Shanghai. Right now, it's currently said postponed. However, I suspect that might change when we hear it's going to be officially canceled. Right now, it's currently postponed, so... yeah. So that means 15 points apiece for the panelists. So, yeah. It was due to low vaccination rates and travel restrictions in place in Victoria. So, there you go. Don't think we have any other top story news other than I need to eat my sandwich before the flies eat it. Yeah. Alright. There we go. Because I had to eat my barbecue sandwiches that I just made, so. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and update the point standings while we're in this discussion. I'll go ahead and pull up this day in history. Today's July the 7th. So we need this day in history. There is some racing that happened on this day in NASCAR that I'll talk about. What was I trying? Oh yeah, I was going to do the point standings update. Alright. So, let me grab the points. And I'll have this updated by now. Whoops. Don't have the roll. Okay, so that means Cody gets 185. I get 185. Taylor. Whoops. Taylor would have 142. Same with Nathan Orman. Or wait, I did it wrong. Hang on a second. 137 plus 15. Barnes and Noble, I did get it. I did derp. Hang on a second. So 152. That's my bad. 152. Brent. Okay, phone. 1559. Okay. There. That's the updated standings. Now we got the points updated. Okay. Okay. don't think I have any other top story news. I think that's all I have. Nothing on the injury report. Basically, I've already gone over the NR report, so now let's go to this day in history before we preview our next race. Today is July 7th, 2021. Of course, on this day, I was with Reed Brooks. On this day in 2007, of course, the Xfinity race was postponed to Saturday due to inclement weather. The only race I watched was Daytona, so there you go. National League won 4-3 at Braves Field in the All-Star Game on this day in 1936. Had Wimbledon played so far. Hank Aaron scored a run after Willie Mays tripled in the National League's 5-4 win over the American League at Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, which is now PNC Park, on this day in 1959. On this day in 1964, at Shea Stadium in the MLB All-Star Game, the National League won 7-4 on the back of Johnny Kaz's run 9th inning home run, which was the big difference in New York. On this day in 1974, West Germany beat the Netherlands 2-1 to win the FIFA World Cup. So there you go. On this day in 1978, the NBA approved franchise swaps. Buffalo Braves owner John Y. Brown acquired the Boston Celtics, which they are still the Celtics. Celtics owner Ivan got the Braves, later moved to San Diego to become what is now the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's see, New Jersey Devils sign two defensemen, despite taking North American to NHL contracts, despite criticism they're taking North American jobs on this day in 1990. South Africa beat Cameroon 1-0 in Dubon in the first FIFA sanctioned match on this day in 1992. On this day in 1993, Lenny Distrilla hit bases loaded 2-run double to end Phillies 7-6 to end the game in the Phillies 7-6 win against the Dodgers in 20 innings in Philadelphia. On this day in 1998, the 69th annual All-Star Game, the American League won 13-8, which is the highest scoring All-Star Game in the history to date. On this day in 2001, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the Pepsi 400, coming from 7th to beat teammate Michael Waltrip. Also on this day in 2007, Jamie McMurray won the final Gen 4 car, or the Gen 4 race, as he beat Kyle Busch to win the Pepsi 400 in the final race for the Gen 4 car at Daytona, if you didn't know that. Of course, Dale Jr. had a bad race in that event. A lot of Wimbledon happened on this day. Kelly Robbins got her only LG Ladies PGA Tour tournament victory on this day in 2003. 2006 on this day, Travis Hafner became first player in MLB history to hit 5 Grand Slams before the All-Star break when he homered off Chris Benson of the Baltimore Orioles. On this day in 2007, Sprint Nextel and NASCAR announced NASCAR Nextel Cup, renamed the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series in 2008. There you go. We had the FIFA Women's World Final, which U.S. beat the Netherlands 2-0 on this day in 2019. Also on this day in 2019, we had the Coke Zero. We had, I think it was, I forgot who won the Coke Zero 400 on this day in 2019. I think it was probably Eric Jones. Yeah, Eric Jones. Birthdays! Birthday time. Happy birthday to John Buck, as far as that's concerned. So there you go. That's a look at this day in history. Now, let's preview our race weekend we got coming up. We got this weekend, we got trucks at Knoxville. Xfinity and Cup are at Atlanta. We also have supercars that are back. They're at Townsville this weekend. And New York City for the FIA Formula E World Championship, as I'm going to take another bite of my sandwich. And I'm not going to share. That felt good. So, of course, New York City is the first race since 2019 for the FIA Formula E World Championship. It was the finale of the Birthday Bash we had that weekend, as that race is also a double header. Should be interesting. Townsville, good to see them back. Of course, they were supposed to have taken part, but they had to postpone due to COVID. Knoxville is going to be way better than Bristol Dirt, okay? Which the panelists and I would agree. Atlanta, who's going to be repaving the track and moving the banking up to 4 degrees, but still keeping the 1.5 mile deal. It's now going to start becoming Las Vegas, if you know what I mean. So, see how that race will go. So, with that being said, let's get right into predictions for this weekend. If you do not know how the predictions go, it goes like this. Driver to win, driver to stay away from, driver you predict as the dark horse. So there you go. We're waiting to hear about Winton, because that race was postponed. Winton is going to be the next race, which will be, which is to be determined, to be announced, because they have some time off between now and then. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so there you go. Let's go ahead and give you the updated global standing points coming into this weekend's deal. I've already actually started a VC call, so points going in with the announcement with the updated points. It really shook the points up dramatically. We don't have the updated overall standings until Nathan Orman puts those points in. So as of now, for the global standings, as we entered with the 15 points that I've just recently handed out, Cody Smart and I are tied for the points lead. We have a nice little cushion over Nathan Orman, Zachary Taylor, who are tied for third at 152 each, which is about 33 points. Brendan Rogers has 65, Cody Goforth 59. The NASCAR standings, leaving Road America. Cody Smart extended his points lead by 42 points over Zachary Taylor. Nathan Orman is third at 114 points. I'm in fourth place with 85 points. Great Lakes in fifth with 23. Cody Goforth sixth at 18. Kyle England, Brendan Rogers, and Q-Man still tied with 17 points each. So there you go. And of course, like I said, we do not have the updated standings so far. Oh, SRX is racing this weekend. I forgot to put them in there. They're at Slinger this weekend. So let me fix that. I forgot they were at Slinger. Slinger should be a good race. Why did I keep forgetting that there was an SRX race? Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and update the predictions. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get a look at this week's upcoming events and also this week's upcoming PCSRA racing events. For this week's upcoming events, we do not yet know if the NASCAR Pit Stop Show is going to happen or not. I have seen no video or no stream from Elijah, so I'm not sure if there is going to be a show as far as the Pit Stop Show is concerned. Of course, again, if you are not aware of the news, the NASCAR Pit Stop Show is leaving at the end of the year. Question still, like I said, with Sean joining Triple P next year, which is really exciting, we do not yet know if there's going to be anything that will happen between now and then. We will just have to wait and see. Which means I will take care of the NASCAR stuff for 2022. PCSRA is going to extend their contract. BHRA will not take over the portion of this show until 2027. So we'll still call it Triple P, even though it's going to be called BHRA. And all that, yada, yada, yada. PCSRA has withdrawn from the NR 2003 big one, so no surprise about that. And I think that's kind of it as far as that's concerned. So, yeah, that's a look at this week's upcoming events brought to you by Kim K Coach Lines, the official motor coach carrier of the PCSRA. Visit kimkcoach.com for details. As far as looking at this week's upcoming PCSRA racing events, yeah, so, anyway. We are going to get ready to, of course, we have next week a busy weekend. Triple P will happen next week, but a date and a time. We're actually going to have Triple P. Let me look. What do we got next week for Triple P? Thanks. Which reminds me. Triple P will actually be moved to a Friday. Give me some time to get motorsports. Normally that time would be the NASCAR Pit Stop Show, but because of the fact that I have seen no streams, and if the Pit Stop Show gets canceled, then this will sign the spot. Next week for predictions, before we get ready for this week's predictions, I'll go ahead and go over next week's predictions with the panelists. Next week, we got the W Series at Silverstone. We also got the British Grand Prix. Formula 2 is back after their off week. We also go to Loudon, New Hampshire as well. And I believe that's it. Yeah, that's it. So it's just New Hampshire and the British Grand Prix, which that's kind of it. So, hey, makes it a nice little good. So, Cody just got up. God damn, it's like 12:28 your time, unless you had a headache and all that. That's probably what Cody had, so, yeah. So, easy weekend for us next week. Hey, next week's also the birthday deal. Also next week is the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, which we're looking forward to that. So, oh man. Alright, so let's go ahead and fix the global stuff. We have SRX. Oh yeah, SRX concludes their season next week. Yeah, I forgot to do IndyCar, but that's okay. What did I say we had? We had SRX, we got Formula E. Okay, so E, so I'm gonna do this. So Formula E, SRX. And then Townsville, okay. Alright. And there's supercars. Okay, so let's... It's like, okay, phone, would you like the dirt for me now or later? Alright. Until I have some panelists, I'm going to go ahead and do my predictions just to get them out of the way. Okay, I'm going to start with... And of course, we'll be in the VC in a minute after I wrap up this portion of the show, because I also got some other promotional announcements, like some awesome stuff coming up. Okay, starting with Formula E. What's up, Country Nate? Yes, good afternoon to you. Good morning still here in the Central Time Zone. For Formula E. Oh, boy. Formula E, who am I taking for driver to win? Formula E is one of those unpredictable seasons, and something tells me we could see a unpredictable winner. Really close in the Drivers' Championship, so... I'm gonna say driver to win... Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna say Renee Rast, driver to win. By the way, 1 point each for global. If you need help, let me know. Alright. Hopefully everybody's having a good Wednesday. I've been up since 6:30 this morning. And if you're wondering why I've been up since 6:30, it's because I woke up early because I fell asleep last night. I fell asleep around 10 something, so I feel kind of tired, but I feel okay. I feel like I went to the Cody Smart College deal. Driver, stay away from. Oh boy. I'm going to say one of the drivers who's been really struggling in points. I feel like it's going to come down to... I'm going to say Eduardo Montara as drivers to stay away from. Make it difficult for me. Dark Horse, Mitch Evans. For SRX... Hard to watch the Formula Series. Yeah. SRX. I did get to watch the SRX race. That's the only race I got to saw other than the Xfinity and Cup races, even though I had to go to work. So, SRX, driver to win. Well, considering he had a bad race last week at Lucas Oil Raceway, he'll probably bounce back. I'm going to take Tony Stewart, driver to win. Because he kicked everybody's butt at Knoxville and Eldora. Driver stay away from. Oh. To me, when you talk about this series, it's going to come down to who I'm going to take. It's really one of those little iffy ones. But to me, I feel like when you look at the, you look at somebody who's been really consistent. Driver stay away from. I'm going to say Elio Castroneves, driver stay away from. Dark horse, Haley Deegan, because she's in the race replacing Tony Kanaan, because Kanaan has other commitments. So there you go. Supercars. Driver to win, Jamie Wincup. Driver stay away from. I'll have to look at the results and see who I'm going to pick for driver stay away from, because I'm probably going to go with a hard pick, because to be fair, Supercars is also another series that's also a toss-up for me, because why? Because I feel like that's where it is. Let me look at the results, as that was a scare the shit out of me there deal. I'm going to say stay away from Chaz Mostert. I'm going to say Chaz Mostert, driver stay away from. That was a toughie. I mean, to be honest with you. Dark Horse SVG, no doubt. So there's my picks. Now, the best part. My NASCAR picks. For the Truck Series. Driver to win. I'm going to say this is one of those predictions that says Taylor has to go smack Discord. Driver to win for the Truck Series. To me, I feel like this is one of those predictions that go, wow, what did I say? I'm going to say he's going to be the inaugural winner, Chase Briscoe, driver to win. Driver stay away from, Oh boy, this is one of those races. If I had to go back to the results of the Bristol Dirt Race, let me pull that up. Truck Series results. This one was one of those races that made me say blah for a minute. The driver who really just kind of struggled at Bristol Dirt, really, I think I'm going to probably take him in a way that, I'm going to end up saying, I'm going to say John Hunter Nemechek as driver to stay away from. That's who I'm going to take. John Hunter Nemechek. Dark Horse. Dark Horse, Haley Deegan. This is her race. I feel like she's going to really shine, and I think with her running the SRX race, it's really going to help her. To Atlanta for the Xfinity race. Driver to win. I'm going to say one sentence, and it's almost like stick with the biff. I'm about to say the sentence, stick with the dinger. AJ Allmendinger as driver to win. I'm taking the dinger himself. I probably won a couple of fans over that one. Driver stay away from. I just don't know who I'm going to take. This one was a difficult pick. I mean, yeah, NASCAR drivers. I don't know, to be honest with you. So. Oh, man. Who I'm taking for driver to stay away from? If I had to choose a driver to stay away from because of my... Oh, Josh Berry's in the 31 this week. I didn't know he was in the 31. Well, good for him. Sooner or later, he's going to end up having a bad race. I mean, yeah, he got in a tussle with Daniel Hemrick, but his momentum is going to be bad. I'm going to say Noah Gragson as driver to stay away from. Dark Horse... I'm going to say Justin Haley. Now the Cup. Driver to win. I'm going to take him. I'm going to say this is going to be the big surprise. I mean, I think he lost the race because of strategy. He's going to win again. Kyle Larson, driver to win. Driver stay away from. Considering the fact that Atlanta can sometimes be a headache to some people, it hasn't showed me... Let me check who is too easy for driver stay away from. Oh, that's, So, if I had to pick who I'm going to take as far as drivers stay away from, and let me check the results from Atlanta for Cup. Atlanta Cup results. Okay, here it is. If there's one driver who I've really just feel like he's been off a who's been really disappointing, I'd say stay away from Kevin Harvick. I'm going to say Kevin Harvick is driver to stay away from. Dark Horse, Ryan Blaney, because why not? And that is my predictions, and we'll be in the VC in just a minute with our amazing friends. So far. So, we've already basically given you a look at this week's upcoming events and all that, and, yeah. So, special thanks to my awesome crew, Zachary Taylor, Nathan Orman, Kyle Langland, Cody Smart, all of our amazing friends, Prue Granger, Lucky Prescott, and Abigail Stone, our statistician, Caleb Hobbs, producer and engineer, Zachary Fitzwater, Jackie Tang, Alex Hawkins, Tom Shores, our sideline engineer, Crystal Fontaine, Greg Rutz, our experts, Daniel Anderson running the show for us back in our PCSRA Network studios. Until next week, this is Daniel Voles saying, Boomer Sooner, everybody.
On the PCSRA Sports Network from Learfield IMG College, PCSRA Paddock Pass has been brought to you by Budweiser, Love's Travel Stops, iHeartMedia, The Oklahoman, Newcastle Casino, Devon Energy, Sonic Drive-Ins, and by the Oklahoma Highway Safety Office, where we encourage all of you fans that together we can end DUI. Thanks for joining us for the PCSRA Paddock Pass Show. The preceding has been a Learfield IMG College presentation on the PCSRA Sports Network. Copyright 2021 by the National Association of Professional Racing Leagues and the Pacific Coast Sports Racing Association.